What's up, everyone? We just got back from Cruel World Festival. This is a festival that was like 80s new wave and goth type music, the best of. And a lot of people were like, when they first came out with the lineup, I think it was in 2019 before the pandemic, everyone was like, oh my god, this can't be real, this is amazing. It's Morrissey, Bauhaus, Tears for Fears, all these classic bands, Blondie, Devo. So when it actually happened, it was really cool, and it got postponed because of the pandemic, but luckily we were able to go, and it was a blast. This is my review for Cruel World Festival. When we first got there, the first band that we saw was Cold Cave. They were pretty cool. They had like some cold, frosty type synths. The lead singer and all the members of the band definitely have a really good fashion sense. You can tell they're from Brooklyn or New York area. I always heard that name around when I was like playing shows and stuff in Brooklyn, so it was cool to finally see them really perform, and I thought they were pretty solid. Then we saw the band Trust, which was fucking awesome. I like how for his backing videos, he just had the camera kind of panning on like the trees or the crowd of people or like the sky, and then they put this weird kaleidoscopic effect on it, so it was just really trippy. And it was just him on stage, or them, I'm not really sure, on stage with like a really cool silver outfit, and it was just a great vocal performance. The vocals are so unique and different. It really doesn't sound like anything else, and it's funny when they talk in between songs, they sound like a normal person, and then when they sing, it's like this crazy thing. It sounds like Elvish or something. And I was telling my girlfriend that this music is like X-Files, because she never heard of Trust before, so I was trying to explain it to her, and I was like, it's like X-Files goth music or something. And after she heard one song, she's like, oh yeah, I love it, and you were totally right, that is what it is. So it was really cool. After that, unfortunately, we skipped Public Image Limited and we decided to go see Drab Majesty. And I had been familiar with a few songs by them, and I was curious to check them out, as I know they're kind of a newer band. And I have to say, it sounded like early Cure, but it was lacking some kind of like punch or something, and I was like kind of falling asleep, and I don't know, we were kind of like, it just kind of put us out. So after that, we also saw Blaqk Audio, which is the project of Davey Havok from AFI. And I've been a fan of AFI casually, you know, over the years. I always thought Davey Havok was a really iconic, emo kind of frontman. He had a cool look and a really good voice. His vocal performance was amazing. He had some wild dance moves. I felt like the outfit was like 80s gone wrong. And maybe that was appropriate for the Cruel World Festival, because he definitely had that strong 80s vibe. He looked kind of like something that Screech might have worn from Saved by the Bell, so I felt like it was a fashion faux pas, and he definitely was rocking a mullet. Now, I know I have some weird fucking hair myself, so I can't really talk, and I've definitely worn some weird ass outfits over the years, so I totally get it. But my man was peacocking. But overall, it was a good performance from Blaqk Audio, and I was glad I got to see them live, as I've heard their music a little bit over the years, and it was cool. It's definitely a lot different from AFI. It's its own sound. It's like kind of like a dark, new wavy type sound, and very influenced by bands like Depeche Mode or The Cure, stuff like that. So that was really cool. I thought overall I would have liked to have seen a little bit more heavier artists, like maybe Soft Moon, or things that are a little bit heavier post-punk. It definitely felt like the festival was leaning on some lighter music, and the crowd was a bit older overall. Up next, we saw the fucking highlight of the whole night. It was in the top 5 performances of my whole life, was Bauhaus. They stole the show at Cruel World Festival, absolutely. Peter Murphy was totally iconic. He looks like Saruman from Lord of the Rings or something, and he's got like this glittering jacket with Swarovski crystals on it. All their backing videos were in black and white, and it just started with a close-up of his face as he was singing, and it was just an amazing set list. They were powerful, they fucking rocked, they were raw. Daniel Ash's guitar was so loud and proud and crazy, and it was that iconic goth rock sound. I feel like out of any band there, they really encapsulate goth the most, and they really brought like a solid classic goth performance to the stage. Peter Murphy was incredible, especially like during Stigmata Martyr. He did this iconic thing with the microphone stand where he was like crucified with the red light behind him. It was fucking amazing. definitely top 5 performances I've ever seen in my life. They stole the show. And I've seen Bauhaus 3 times now. I saw them open for 9 Inch Nails, and then I saw them a couple years ago before the pandemic in LA, headlining. And I have to say that yesterday was by far the best performance I've ever seen them do. It was fucking phenomenal. So also the coolest thing about it was while we were watching them perform, behind us was the blood moon in the sky, and it was literally like a ring of red with darkness, and we were looking at the blood moon eclipse behind us while Bauhaus was playing. So it was totally iconic, amazing. After that, we had the controversial legend himself, Mr. Morrissey. Very interesting. I'm not too familiar with the Smiths or Morrissey. I know that according to Marilyn Manson's autobiography, Long Hard Road Out of Hell, I'm probably gay, and everyone in the audience is now gay officially because we just saw Morrissey perform. But that book hasn't aged very well, unfortunately. So, but Morrissey was really, really interesting. He very mysterious. There were weird pictures and stuff behind him that I didn't understand. Black and white photos of people. He seemed like he was possibly intoxicated, but he may just be really eccentric. I can't really tell because I don't know Morrissey that well. But his vocals and his performance overall were very solid, very heartfelt. I felt like I was in a trance at some times. It was almost like the gothic version of R&B, if that makes sense. Like it kind of you feel like you're at church almost once you really get into it with his vocals and everything. He had some really awkward, weird banter in between songs. Like at one point he kind of appeared to tell everybody to shut up, and we were like, what? And then he was like, oh, just kidding or something, and he kind of mumbled. Another time he just said blah 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 and then started the next song. So he's lived up to his reputation, and also the festival was totally meat free, I noticed, and I'll talk about the food in a minute. But he played How Soon Is Now, which is my favorite song by the Smiths. Obviously, like I said, I'm a very casual fan. I'm not super familiar, so I know the hits. I love that song. I think the guitar work on that song and just the structure of it is really bizarre and unique and interesting and innovative. And that song fucking rocked. Morrissey's band was tight as hell. They definitely rocked the house. And they did a great performance of How Soon Is Now. I don't know the other songs that he played. It seemed like it was more his newer solo music that he performed, and I thought some of the songs were pretty good. There was one in particular that was kind of dark and really bizarre, and it was shorter, and he was just kind of going on like an emotional rant with his voice. It was really interesting, actually. I have to say, you know, when he really gets into it, he brings something really special as a vocalist. And, you know, for him to come on after Peter Murphy, who fucking killed it on the vocals with Bauhaus, and still Morrissey held his own. I did feel it was a bit anticlimactic. I felt like Bauhaus should have been the big headliner there because they just sounded huge. And Morrissey put on a good show. And yeah, his set was kind of short. There was weird black and white pictures behind him. The whole time I was like trying to understand what the hell his pictures meant and what he was even saying between songs, because he was just saying weird shit. Definitely a character. But, you know, he's closed the set after maybe like 8 songs, and then he had this weird sound that kept playing over and over with this, looked like a video of someone shooting themselves in the head, but they weren't really. It was really strange. Very bizarre and quirky, I have to say. He's a quirky character. He does a lot of like weird vocal inflections in between the singing that kind of reminds me of like Michael Jackson or Kanye West, where they do this kind of or whatever kind of thing in between in between singing, and he's a character, but he delivered, I thought. And overall, it was a great festival. I have to say there were a lot of artists that we didn't really see, so, you know, sorry if we didn't cover some of the acts that you wanted us to cover. And obviously I'm biased towards the heavier, more post-punk sound. My favorite stuff is industrial, like Throbbing Gristle, Ministry, you know, so obviously Bauhaus is going to be my favorite when it comes to the bands that were at Cruel World, as they're the only one that really has any kind of like heavy, real bite to them. But, you know, I still like a lot of that different kind of music, and it was cool to see all the different flavors and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like icon, hit the bell notification. And the food at Cruel World was really good. It was all vegan. It was really, 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 really overpriced, and of course that's something you expect at a festival, I guess, but this was really overpriced. We're talking $22 for a bunch of noodles that probably cost them $3 to make. So there was like garlic noodles, there was some really good fried mushrooms and fried portobellos and like a bun, like a pork bun type situation, but no pork obviously. Those are really tasty. There was some really good gourmet donuts and stuff, and the coffee was actually really good. You know, you guys know I'm a huge iced coffee fan, so I had to have in this case I had my espresso, but I noticed that there was no dairy at all whatsoever. So of course Morrissey lived up to his reputation. The whole festival was dairy free, it was meat free, and then honestly I'm totally cool with that. Myself, I'm a pescatarian, and obviously I'm not going to eat seafood at a festival, so I'm totally more than okay with meat free. That's actually my preferred option anyway. But yeah, the food was cool, and the parking situation was absolutely insane. We had to like walk around the entire festival 3 times. It felt like we were doing the downward spiral just to circle in to get to the festival. And then of course after nightfall, when the festival was over, we got completely lost for hours looking for that car. And I ended up having to get a ride from some of the grounds people on the golf course. I got a ride in his golf cart, and then he drove me like 10 minutes. We were going in the wrong direction, and he drove me 10 minutes in the other direction. Got the car, had to come back and find my girl. It was like a whole crazy adventure, but it was totally worth it. Bauhaus is definitely in my top 5 of performances I've ever seen. I'm so glad we went to Cruel World Festival. I'm glad that promoters are starting to put on these big festivals that are kind of catering to like a whole era of type of music. I think that's totally the way to go moving forward. I would love to see something like that for like true industrial music, like, you know, Skinny Puppy and Eisters and Neubauten and stuff like that. If they did a festival like that, I would be really, really stoked. So yeah, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for checking it out. Bombs away, motherfuckers.